So I've been trying to wrap my head around this whole argument about the slideshow commentary community because ever since last year's BS, it's been a thing on a lot of people's minds. Recently, a person who used to associate with the community named Neko Koda did a little rant video trying to find aspects that the community could improve on. I had some issues with it, and not gonna lie, initially this video was going to be me covering that, but I really didn't film my script, and I think that if anyone else covers it, they'll get my points across a lot better. That being said, I can't really say the same for SpaceGuru5. He's a good boomer friend of mine, and he recently did a response-styled video on Neko Koda, not necessarily a commentary, I'll just tell you that. I felt very iffy about it. Rewatching it, my issues grew in size, so now we have this video where I'll be covering that today. So, Lasun's on Fangen, I guess.
Branding is very important for a channel. You don't want to get buried in a pool of people using anime avatars. You want to stand out, and I'm sorry, but this isn't helping you at all.
First of all, you don't necessarily need an OC to stand out. Many commentators, both in this community and the mainstream, have used non-OCs, including anime ones, and still stood out. Boomstick545, one of the earliest commentary community members, used Pikachu. MSkull01 used many non-OCs during his career, including ones from Azumanga Daioh and Pokemon. YoungbloodFantasy91 has used Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbes for most of the 2010s, and is still to this day called Hobbs. I've used Wile E. Coyote for most of my commentary career. During Super Bowl 53, there was a commercial for a 2019 Benz A-Class that briefly featured Wile E. Coyote, and one of my commentator friends joked that it made me famous.
See, my issue with this example is that I don't even think that many people outside the community even know many of these names. Now, I could see all of these guys being fairly popular and well known in the early 2010s, to be fair, given that in those days, YouTube was fairly different. But these days, given that aside from Hobbs, who uploads irregularly these days to begin with, I'd be damned if I can find someone who wasn't around in YouTube back then or is in the community now who knows of them these days, considering none of them even upload anymore. This is definitely not helped by your last example, yourself, where we bring up how a friend told you that because Wile E. Coyote was in the Super Bowl commercial, you were now famous. Oh yeah, that's a common banter between friends, like how on Discord I may use Tomoko as my profile picture and someone else will hop in and joke that I'm stealing Doodle's avatar, since she used to be known for using Tomoko as her avatar in commentaries quite a bit. That's not really a good example though, because that doesn't in any way show that you're recognizable by a large degree. You said it yourself, that was a dude bro of yours. I mean, I can't go on Twitter, look up Wile E. Coyote and see people associating that avatar with you unless they're in this community, whereas I can look up Tetra, an example you give up later, and find people associating that with Leafy. Just saying, this point gives me a headache. I don't even know if I'm arguing this correctly, actually. Am I?
Second of all, this whole branding and avatar shit is a non-issue. It's not the avatar choices that get us looked down upon. It's the shitty infighting and drama that goes on, partially because of people complaining about avatar choices and other stupid shit that people try to get mandated here. That has always been a problem in this community, even when I first started doing commentaries in 2011.
But Koda wasn't saying we as a community are looked down upon because of our anime avatars, just that we should try going for original stand-ins because it means we don't have good branding. And later Koda does explain that our lack of branding means less consistent viewership, and while that isn't necessarily true, overall what you say here is kind of missing the point if you ask me.
On the subject of avatar choices,
First of all, let's go over some reasons why someone would use an anime avatar other than being a huge fucking weeb.
Yes, because those choice of transition words totally gives everyone a good idea what's about to happen. I know that we don't always need a full summary for context, but it'd help a little more than just saying, speaking of avatar choices. That being said, if I can't explain it in my friend's place, Koda goes out and decides to use a video by a commentator named Tomiopath as an example of commentators deflecting the anime avatar criticism. That's why we're seeing their video right now. We good? Good.
First of all, let's go over some reasons why someone would use an anime avatar other than being a huge fucking weeb. 1. The person can't draw, or rather isn't at the skill level to make an original avatar set that they'd be proud of having in every single one of their commentaries. 2. They don't have the money to commission an avatar set.
I could easily just say learn to draw and leave it at that. However, I know learning to draw takes a lot of time, and money can be an issue for some people. So let me tell you what I did about that. Character creators. Sure, it's not ideal, but I can still give you a channel brand of some sorts.
what if people don't want to use character creators? What if they don't want to be seen as just gacha tubers, or Wolfus tubers, or even fucking Maple Story tubers? Congrats, you found a solution that works for you, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to want to hop on board the gravy train. Plus, one could argue that using gacha or Wolfus to make your characters would still be classified as having an anime avatar, which you flat out say is something people don't like later on in the video.
Well, to be fair, they were saying anime avatars in the context of unoriginal stand-ins that come from anime. Your point would only necessarily work if you said people didn't like the anime aesthetic, as in characters who look like anime characters.
You can use anime avatars all you like. Just know, many people will find it displeasing, and a lot of people don't like it.
How about just letting people use what they want to use in their videos without being a dick about it? Again, this is the type of shit that other people look down upon us for.
Because if you want to brand with anime avatars, Koda claims it won't be easy. You don't do much to counter this claim that branding with an anime avatar isn't easy, so this point basically boils down to, let me do what I want. So, yeah. I mean, I feel the attempt here, but it really only feels like an attempt.
Ah, yes, the dreaded one-shot commentary. Even when I was in the Stacy, I never really liked doing these. They're just so pointless in my opinion. Like, oftentimes these one-shots are just quick points that, at the end of the day, are inconsequential to anything in the video.
So, how is that the CC's fault exactly? How is that a problem that's plaguing the commentary community? You are literally the only person in charge of making content on your channel. The onus is on you for doing something despite knowing you don't even like to do it. Don't blame the entire community for your own apathy. Also, just because you don't like them doesn't mean they're automatically bad. That's self-explanatory, honestly. Then again, self-explanatory points might be beyond Neko's reach.
Well, the point wasn't leaning on them trying to say since they didn't like it, it couldn't be fun. They were just saying back when they did the format, they didn't like it, and pointing out how at the end of the day, it could be argued that one-shots were basically pointless since more often than not, they think the points boil down to just one point. I mean, yeah, their argument isn't the best, I'll say that as someone who really isn't too fond of one-shots, but I don't think you argued it correctly. So that just does it for Guru, because outside of some shaking things here or there, I find the videos left without anything I want to argue. That being said, I do have a small thing against Koda that I want to bring up, because I feel now is a good time since we're here at least.
I'll give credit where credit is due. We have commentators like V Omega and Lunatic the Game who at least try to be more experimental with their editing. However, most commentators have the same editing style. Still image, on a background, switching from image to image, and, if you're lucky, a zoom in.
Okay, so yeah, you can probably tell by the fact that I was mentioned here, I may or may not have something to say about your examples of commentators with more experimental editing styles. I'll get to V later, but I'll just say it now. Me, huh? I mean, I won't lie, I'm flattered, but to say that this raises a bunch of eyebrows is an understatement to say the least. Why? Well, first off, you don't really clarify what about me, or V2, are so different from other commentators. I understand that in the case of V, if you simply watch his videos, it speaks for itself. They go crazy with Vegas. Me, on the other hand, I'm really no different than a fuck ton of other commentators within this community. Yeah, I play around with keyframes, I throw images around the screen, I do zoom ins to emphasize certain pieces of dialogue. I can list a large number of commentators who do the same thing. Like, ignoring obvious choices like Keyblade Master and Aaron Tempest, you also have the likes of Bowser Dudex, Zelf101, Blazin' Hope, Mr. A, Luxor, Joni Rook, Saradus. I know that there are loads of other commentators who do have much less interesting editing styles, but a lot of them seem to be dipping their toes into editing and are trying to get better, so every now and then you'll see maybe one or two cool things going on. Also, it can be argued that V isn't necessarily a part of the slideshow commentary community anymore. I mean, yeah, he pretty much is a slideshow commentator still, but he really wouldn't fit in your rant, especially seeing as unlike Milan, someone who you use as an example in a different section, who also claims to not associate with the commentary community, V has much more connections outside of this community and only just happens to have a few from within. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Guru's video as well as Koda's video, so what do I think about these videos? Well, I'm not really going to say anything about Koda's video, because, I mean, I don't think it's appropriate for me to say anything about it, because I really don't have much to say about it other than I don't really like it. I have a bunch of issues I can outline, but overall, my issues just boil down to, you could have done a lot better than this. And seeing as MTR and I know a few other people are covering this video, I feel like it would be more appropriate for them to take some critique from those videos, just not me, because if I can't come up with anything, then why would you be here? So anyways, but I do have stuff to say about Guru. Guru, I'm going to admit that in comparison to your previous response to a CC rant, this is a vast improvement. I mean, there's no more of that bias stuff here, and really the only thing that kept this video down was that I felt you didn't pay as much attention to a few of these points. That's not to say I think this video is almost good. I still think this is a bleh video altogether, but I really just wanted to acknowledge that this is a better video than I was afraid it could have been. I was going to check over the script, but because I was covering Koda's video initially, I held off from it until I could finish it, and by the time I was halfway done, this video was already out. So I do apologize for that. That's why this video is a video in itself. Otherwise, that's all I really have to say. I guess I could say, let's not start drama out of this, but hey, that's a fucking given. Let's not start drama out of this. So, well, since that's all I want to say, look forward to the more lore episodes next time. See you later. Good night.